Okay, so here we are again. Um, Now we're going to talk about the idea of fractions being equivalent to one another. This is going to be the final hurdle before we get to add fractions with different denominators. Okay, so we're going to say that two fractions are equivalent if and only if they represent the same quantity, or you can get one fraction from the other by multiplying the fraction with a fraction that equals 1. Okay, I know that this is kind of confusing, but you're gonna see that both of these descriptions are gonna be the same as they should be, right? For example, if we're gonna add two fractions, the basic idea, the reason why we're coming up with this concept, is because let's say I want to add 1/2 and 1/3. Now we haven't talked about adding these yet, but I know you can already see in your mind the picture. Well, if I look at a half of a pie and I look at a third of the pie, they're not the same shape, they're not the same size. So, I can't really just combine them like that. I have to find a way to get fractions that will be comparable so that I can count the pieces. Okay? In a in a in a in an even kind of way. So let me walk you through this first example, and then as we progress it'll become clear. So this first example basically states that the fraction 1/2 and the fraction 2/4 are equivalent. Okay? Now I want to draw your attention to these figures. We can assume that these are both cakes of the same size. And if you look at this cake on the left, it's been sliced into two pieces, one is shaded. So this corresponds to 1/2. This cake has been sliced into four pieces, but these two slices have been shaded, and you can see that this, which is in fact in this case 2/4, because two slices are shaded out of four pieces, you can see visually that this one and this one are actually the same quantity, right? Now over here I've represented the other description, which is that we can get two fractions. We can say that two fractions are equivalent if from one fraction you multiply by a fraction that equals 1. This fraction, which has the same numerator and denominator, we recall from our fact before that because it has the same numerator and denominator, it represents the number 1. So indeed, if I take the fraction 1/2 and I multiply it by a fraction that equals 1, I get the fraction 2/4. Okay? Yes. And therefore, I can say that these two fractions are equivalent. Okay? The idea of equivalent fractions is the two fractions represent the same quantity. The only difference is that they look different. Okay? And the fact that they look different is going to help us when we're adding fractions with different denominators. Now I'm going to show you a different example.